Okay, so I am Niek Raaijmakers, working at Adobe quite some time now. And yeah, welcome to my talk. And I'm going to talk about something that I actually released quite some time ago, 4 years ago, but then COVID happened and I couldn't present it. And it's still good, so I think it still deserves its presentation, even though I don't really actively work on it, but if a bug gets filed, I will address it. So parameterized dialog snippets, or the ACS Granite UI include. I'm just curious, has anybody actually used it in their project? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. Has anybody considered it, seen it, but nah, it doesn't fit my requirements? Okay, 1, okay, well. So lots of room for improvement. A lot of people don't even know about it. And sometimes I see the code of customers when doing support tickets, and I see they could actually use this module to improve the stuff. Also, at the end of the presentation, I will talk a little bit about a few injectors that I built recently. Nothing too special, but still can be useful, that I contributed to ACS Commons. So yeah, let's get started. Right, so why do we need parameterized dialog snippets? So we already have a include in the XML dialogs in AEM, but you can only really include them as is. Now, you do have the Sling resource merger, which I'll mention later, but you need to basically adjust properties one by one, or overwrite them one by one, which can get cumbersome. And what I see a lot of times, and especially before this, I saw that people just copy-paste dialog code if they had to change just one field. And, well, the other 500 lines get copied along, which is a shame. And that's why we have this module. So to solve that, there's two main functionalities. One is the namespaces, which basically what happens is before every name property, we put a namespace that you specify, and that will work pretty well. I'll show it later. And also parameters. So in this case, in a snippet, if you want something slightly different in one include, then you can just, using a parameter, you can specify it on the include level. You can say, okay, give me a slightly different description for this field or something. And that will enable you to basically reuse dialog snippets a lot more. So instead of copy-pasting, so that's the goal. All right. Okay, so I come up with a really simple scenario that is quite boring, but it's just for demonstration purposes. So we have a hero component, which is one component. In this case, we have 3 slides. The slide has an image, and the slide has 2 CTAs, call to action. And that call to action just has a text, a link, and a target. And that's it. Okay, nothing special. Okay, so we want to have a CTA model, a Sling model, a HDL template, and we want to have a dialog snippet, 1 or 2, but not all this duplication. So we want to be as dry as possible, so don't repeat yourself. So yeah, actually I already mentioned it, yeah, slide model. And also it must be differentiable for the author, where the parameter comes into play. I want to actually show different description text for the fields. So to meet these requirements, we can use my module here. So a little bit about namespaces. I can actually look at this screen, it's much better. So it automatically, as I said, prefixes all name properties in one go, and it supports nesting. So if you include a snippet, which then also includes a snippet, and they both use namespacing, it will actually chain them together, and I'll demonstrate this. So it can go quite complex, and that can go infinite. So that really, I think, supports a lot of use cases, especially with huge projects. And this works really well in combination with SLI or HDL templates and with Sling model classes. Okay, so we have the Sling resource merger, and I don't want to rip on the Sling resource merger because it's Sling. It's good, but one of the things what I don't like about it is you have to override properties one by one. So if you have a lot of nodes with a name property, you have to then override them every single one. And it doesn't really support nesting like what we do here. So you can still use it, but I think this one is better. So, but that's my opinion. All right. Okay, so I will get to the concrete stuff soon, I promise. But a little bit more slides, so I don't have to go back to the slides later. Okay, so bear with me here. So parameters allows customization on the top include level. It supports typecasts of the parameters that you pass along to Boolean and integer string. Also supports default values. And yeah, it can be passed down parameters, but they are not nested. So if you do includes in includes, then you need to do that specifically. Okay, and at the last, if there's time left, I will talk about the injectors and the ones that we just released. Content policy value, where you can just inject a content policy value from the component or from the page directly in the Sling model without doing any post-construct logic. Same goes for tag property. You have a property that points to a tag with the tag picker, and you can just resolve the tag object without doing the resolve logic. So let's save you some lines of code and some unit tests. I18N actually been around also for 4 years, and I didn't present it, where you can just resolve the key in your Sling model, resolve the I18N translation value, and hierarchical page property. I'm just curious, how many have ever used a hierarchical page property injector? Okay, that's more than the rest. That's cool, yeah. Where you can just get page properties up in the hierarchy into your Sling model directly. So, okay, I think now I can do the demo. So enough talk. So it's going to be a bit packed, but I did test it before. Oh, yeah, I have my awesome, okay. So first of all, my awesome component with my awesome content here. Yeah. Saw this on a Comic-Con in Los Angeles. Oh, hey. Hey, just a moment. Okay, can I maybe replug it? That would. Oh, that's probably because the PowerPoint is overriding it. Maybe I should quit. Let me just shut off the PowerPoint because that's now no longer needed, and show. Yes, saw this guy on a Comic-Con. I thought it was pretty funny. A lot of nonsense, but yeah. Anyway, it's just a carousel with 3 slides and 2 buttons. Nothing special, just for demonstration purposes. This is the content hierarchy. Can we see it, actually? Is it clear enough? I hope so, because I can't really make it any better. So, okay, so this is the hero component context. So this is where a component lives. It has 3 slides, which each have an image URL. Yeah, like I said, it's a bit packed, but just trust me, it has an image URL. And then it has these CTAs, CTA left, CTA right. Maybe I can, yeah. And these properties are basically the same for all these CTAs. So they're all the same, except for the values, obviously, but the properties are equal. Okay, how am I actually looking on time? Okay, I still have time. Okay, so there we go. Okay, then I need to show the dialog briefly. So here we have our hero component dialog, image URL, the same. And in this case, let's just assume that the customer says, okay, I want, with the CTA, I want the description to be here left CTA, and here right CTA, so that the author can differentiate the fields better. This would normally break reusable dialog snippets quite a bit. And then I see people just copy-pasting everything and then just filling in left and right, which works, but it's not really dry. So yeah, and then we have slide 1, 2, 3, all the same. So now I'm going to actually look to make this a little bit more dry using the solution. Actually, first, let me just very quickly go to the documentation here. So this is the documentation. And yeah, how shall I go to it quickly? So what we will see is in here, in the field values, we'll put this statement as this format. So here we put a parameter, can put an optional value, an optional typecast. But I'm just going to go into it and show you. I think that's better. Actually, yeah. Right, OK. So for the full disclosure, I put in Commons the end solution here so I don't get killed by the demo effect, so to speak, just in case. But this is our dialog. And as you can see here, I just copy-pasted everything. And it's like, well, 630 lines, which is a lot. And we can make this less. So my strategy is first I'm going to just start with the on the CTA level. So what I'm going to do is just extract this part near the left and the right, which is present in 3 occasions, and I'm just going to extract it to a snippet, and then I'm going to include it. So I already extracted it in the interest of not making mistakes and saving time. So I'm just going to go over it very quickly. So what I did for extracting it, really, I just basically copy-pasted everything in this element. I just copy-pasted the whole thing, and I pasted it in a snippet here. You know, change the root element to JSHA root, put in the namespaces that are required, and then everything that remains the same, I just left it. But the things that change, and in this case would be this left and right description text, I'm putting in parameters. So yeah, as you can see here, maybe I can zoom in a bit. But here I put in the dollar, double bracket, a string typecast, a key, and then a default value. And I put that in front of this value here. So it's flexible. I could, put type stuff in here. Oh. OK, so, and I do this, I use this for every field label to achieve the requirements, basically. So it's all used, these parameters. And then you see that funky color that's changing for the buttons. That's a CSS class with a hidden property. And that's over here. That's not offerable. That I just use this parameter here. And now, to include it, I go back. I'll just type it out here. So left CTA, GCR primary type. I would just say, OK, NT unstructured, structured. Title left CTA, sling resource type. Then I put in the ACS Commons. Make sure I don't use it, make a mistake. UI components. Include path. So this is the path to the actual snippet in the repository. And did I make a mistake? Oh, no. OK. And then, oh, yeah, the namespace. Now I can also just explain the namespacing. So basically, the way I made this work, everything is that the name property here has this prefix, slide 1, CTA left, and then slide 2, CTA right, etc. This we're just going to let this be handled by the module. So in this case, just to start off with, I will just say namespace, slide 1, CTA left. OK. So that's the base, and then I need to include some parameters. Primary type, and the unstructured. And yeah, obviously I should just do it the proper way. So we have this property, and it's just the key of this object here. And I believe, what was it? Yes, slide 1 left. Because, yeah, and then CTA prefix, that's the stuff we want in front of all the fields, equals left CTA. All right, and then we can just delete this. And I'll just deploy. That should yield the same result if I didn't screw this up. We'll see. Yeah, so it's with the same result, basically. And then once you achieve that, obviously, the other stuff becomes easy. You just say, OK, paste this in, make this right, CTA, say right, slide 1 CTA right, slide 1 right, right CTA. And then we already shrunk the code a little bit, I think, but OK, I'll deploy this. And hopefully it still works. OK, yeah, it still works. OK, so that works. So we already introduced a snippet here. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to manually apply it to the other slides. But what I'm going to show instead is the nesting, which I think is powerful. So now I'm going to take it a step further. I will create a snippet on the slide level. And obviously, I already wrote the snippet. And again, if you just go back, it's just a copy, basically, of everything inside here. Just copied it in. This we won't really change, except for the namespace mechanism, which will automatically prepend the namespaces. Yeah. And the only thing that I mentioned is the thing that was not supported was the parameter nesting. And since we do need to pass a parameter here, we do need to mention that explicitly here. So this thing will come from the parent include, the extra CSS class CTA left and the other one on the right. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead. So yeah, I'm not going to, well, let's see, 11 minutes. I'll just uncomment this much faster. I'm just going to talk about it. So, OK, this is just, again, the include like before. Here we point to that tab that I extracted into a snippet. And in this case, we say, OK, namespace is slide 1. And then everything in that tab in here, all the names will be prepended with slide 1 in their name. So this will be automatically like slide 1 tags, and that will automatically be done. And then obviously you can just get rid of this. And then you can toss all this out. Make this slide 2. This slide 3. Okay, we're now at 64 lines, which is a lot better. Obviously, still the snippets themselves have actual code, so that also counts in. But here, same functionality, except now we have much more maintainable code. We have these 2 snippets. So again, to explain now, the first include is the slide tab. And that one does another include. So the slide tab includes CTAs. And those also have a namespace. And those merge together. And then you have slide 1 CTA left, slide 1 CTA right. So that takes care of itself. Yeah, so that's basically the parameterized namespace includes. I still have some time left, so I will go to my injectors. So for that, I'm going to the Java side. Let's see, okay. Actually can close these out. Don't need them. Hero component. So I put some unrelated stuff to the hero, but just to demonstrate some functionality that could be used, that can be replaced by the injectors. So nothing too special, but it might still help you. So let's get started. So I'm just starting with the most known one, hierarchical page property. So our goal is, in this case, we are in this context in the hero component, and we want to retrieve a property on this level here. Let's say page title or language, whatever it may be. And we have some code for that. It's not bad, but you know, why do it if you can write it in a annotation? So that's what I'm going to do. So let me just copy this. So template and language. So this is the property. Obviously, you need to have ACS Commons in your dependencies to have this work. That goes without saying. So I can put the name in here. Okay, so let's switch to this guy. And I'm just going to do this with debugging to show you like that it retrieves the values. Simple. Okay. Oh, let me remove that breakpoint because, okay. So here you see the property being retrieved, automatically, and you don't need to write any post-construct logic for that. So that helps. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so adaptTo page. This is where is it? A Sling model that has some properties that are related to the page level that are adapted, like trumpable, page title, what else? AdaptTo page prop. And before you could just retrieve the page with this post-construct logic and then adapt it, but we can also do it using this. So we can say self and then via, because it's a via provider. I don't see many people using the via annotation. I think that's a shame because it's quite powerful, I think. So what was it? Page content via type. Okay, so that gets rid of this. Now I also need to immediately also refactor this here. So container height and RTL here, those are properties that are in the policies. So here's the, let's see, yeah, here's the hero component policy. It has container height of 600. And here's a page policy with right to left through. And we want to retrieve those. Obviously, you have post-construct logic for that. Or you can just use some annotations, which we will now. So see, this is on the component level. So let's see, container height. Let's see, policy value, and then that should be it. And we also, okay, I need to extract this one to field. This needs to be content policy value, and then it's to be via type page content. So I go to the page content. What I do with the via is I go to the page resource, basically. I go first, tell the injectors to look here in the page, and then resolve the annotation. So this way, we can actually force it to go to the page policy. And I think that's it. So now I can just get rid of this and deploy it. I hope it loads, otherwise I made a mistake. Okay. And here we go. Yes, there it is, true. Okay, 4 minutes. And what was the other one? It was container height. It's also here, 600. Okay, so last one I'm going to show is the tags. That's with the hero slide. I just put in some tags just for demonstration purposes. Again, here we just do it with the post-construct logic, and we can get rid of this. So we can just say tag property from ACS Commons, change this to tags, get rid of the, because before we just retrieve the properties from the repository, the keys, and then use those keys to resolve the tags. Well, we can just do that directly using this, so we can just toss this out. Or maybe I just put in some statement, system out print line. Yeah, doesn't matter. So I can debug it and change this to tags. Okay. Oh yeah, that's the debugger. Oh, oops. Oops. Yeah, okay, so here we have one, and I believe the other one we have, this is not available. What? Oh, okay, that's funny. Okay, here we go. So here we have the tag list, the actual tag objects resolved. Okay, I still have 2 minutes, so I can show the I18N annotation. I'm sure it will be the least interesting one, but since I have time, what the heck. Right, so let's say I want to retrieve this I18N property. Here we have some bunch of logic to retrieve it. I saw a lot of customers that actually have a service class for this. You don't need that, just use this one. Feel free though to still do it if you like, obviously. So hero component, and I'm just going to retrieve string I18N label, and I'm going to put the key in here. Okay. Whoops. Okay, and also you can actually get the entire object if you want. Map. Test. Okay, all right. See, debug. Okay, so here you go. This is the French variant because I put the language in French. And here we have the actual object, the I18N object, where you can do your stuff. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope this will help you along to get rid of some code. So yeah, enjoy. Yeah. If any questions? Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've brought some questions. And there's a question, already have feedback from Robert and Conrad, but I'm interested in your point of view. How maintainable is ACS AEM Commons on AEM as a cloud service when continuous changing auto updates from Adobe?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's an excellent question. I do like ACS Commons because I come from consulting originally, and then the question indeed is, how stable is it with continuous upgrades? Yeah, it's, well, we did create already a separate OSGI bundle in the ACS Commons module, but yeah, you got me there. Actually, that's a good point, because one of the points is with ACS Commons, it's not officially supported by Adobe. It's, you know, just assumes that I'm going to make some time in my evening to fix a bug if there is one, which I did, but yeah. What if I get hit by a truck and there's nobody else? Adobe is not going to put somebody on it. So, you know, use it at your own discretion, I would say.
But I guess it's open source, so everybody can
you can all, yeah, right. Yeah. Chip in,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
You know, absolutely.
So, next one. What would be the case to cast a type in the parameter? Aren't they text in every case?
Yeah, actually, that was used before, actually, the typecast, and I just brought it over. But actually, why they were used, I actually I'm not actually completely sure. That's a good point. I just thought I just converted over. But yeah, I don't have the answer, actually. No, excellent. I'll be honest.
Is it possible to change validation rules like required, not required, when we include the fields?
Yes, yes. Yeah, but you have to put this parameter inside the required value. And then you can put a default value, true or false, but you still have to put the parameter. That's one thing with the Sling resource merger that is more powerful. If you don't want to touch the existing dialogs, then the Sling resource merger can do that. And this cannot, because you're going to have to put in those placeholders.
Okay. Yeah. Does it also support dynamic loading of JavaScript files, similar to the CSS classes you showed?
Oh, no, I don't think so. That's a good question. Dynamic loading of JavaScript in which context? I'm just inside the dialog, or well, you know what it does? It changes the output coming from the server side, from the Granite. So whatever the JavaScript does with it, you know, I think then it's supported, actually. Yes, yes, I think so.
Great.
Cool. All right.
Thanks for having me on stage.
Thanks.